Chad, what episode is this?
This is episode 89 of SlapperCast.
89, that's right, because 90 is a big one.
89 and feeling fine.
90 is indeed going to be a big one. All right, so look, we got a couple of things we want to say, right? What are we going to talk about first? We've got a question from Greg. We've got something. Hold on. Did Bob
a question from Greg. Bob. No, Bob was just commenting. Bob was commenting on the
David Lee Roth.
The manicity? No, the manic David Lee Roth podcast that he enjoyed, but he
was disturbed.
Wild man.
One needs to be highly caffeinated and extremely busy, to have that thing playing in the background, or just watch it and get energized.
There you
go. You will attain some energy from that beast that is Mr. Roth. Before we go anywhere, I want to say a big happy birthday to our friend Max, who's listening from way down in the valley. It's his birthday Saturday, so it's just gone, but we're getting it to you today. Max, happy birthday, and stay playing, stay rocking.
It's a preview of his birthday.
Yeah, no, it's a review.
The review of the preview?
Yeah.
Preview review.
So happy birthday, Max. Anyway, so let's carry on. I just wanted to make sure, because I was going to be in trouble with Miss Luna if I didn't. I think you both should say happy birthday to Max too.
Happy birthday, Max.
Happy birthday, Max. 21, finally. Yes.
He's a lot older than 21 here, but anyway. So thank you, gentlemen. So where were we? How did last week's go with the
3-piece game?
Mobile? No, the
mobile podcast.
The mobile podcast.
I thought that was fun.
I thought it was the reason why the camera stayed on the dashboard so long was our new tires.
Oh yeah,
Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Jay.
So that was wonderful. And so did he just sent you a message? Sorry, back to Bob. Do we
on the phone?
Did he just that was it? Essentially,
I think he watched it based on your recommendation, Patrick, and he's a big Van Halen. I mean, he's been a Van Halen fan since we were kids. I know that much.
I could tell that. He's a smart man.
But he just found the rapid fire delivery even a little bit more
exhausting,
manic than it was when we were kids. And we had recorded the US Festival back in '82, I think, or '81 when Van Halen played. Remember the US Festival? Anybody?
Yeah.
See,
I've seen videos of it.
It was like a two. They did one in '81 and one in '82, and on Metal Day it was. I know it was Van Halen, and I sort of thought Judas Priest played, and a couple other bands. It was this huge, put on by your buddy there, Apple Computers, there out there in California, and it was just
Tim
huge.
Apple.
Yeah, Tim Apple. Anyway, so they did this radio, Westwood One Radio did an interview with Van Halen, I think before or directly after their show, and David Lee Roth was just like nonstop talking, but he was either coked or drunk or both, and just like it was hilarious. I mean, because it just wasn't making any sense at all.
I think
obviously now I think he's sober, so. It's just his brain.
Yeah.
And what
he
goes
works
on.
so fast.
Yeah.
And he works in different, he works on different levels of consciousness than I think a regular people. I was just blown away by his work ethic too. He wanted to be a paramedic in New York. He just wanted to learn that. And so he did it. Imagine coming to and finding David Lee Roth standing. The other thing I think is genius about, there's so many genius things. I've been just nonstop listening to Van Halen, and I say Van Halen, and I don't mean Sammy Hagar. You piss off. I've been listening to the other genius thing David Lee Roth did was he's able to delegate. He didn't have to do anything. He can stand up there and just pose. I mean, just kick, jump, pose. If you listen to the songs, he's mastered right. You guys do all the work. I'll go up here and just reap the benefits of it. Those guys are constantly playing their asses off and constantly being singing backup and holding the song down. And he can just I'll just take this next verse off. And he does, because of his smoking, his throat and his breathing and all that stuff is just ruined. However, still,
that last record you played though was awesome.
Yeah, of course, you could do anything in the studio.
Yeah,
as we've found out. But he's of course, interview after interview, watching these old archived historic, prehistoric videos. It seems, when Eddie was a kid and they're talking about their, the breakup. They're talking about even before that, and you can tell where all this animosity came from. They're all so different in their. Of course, the brothers Alex and Eddie are tight knit, and fist fights and whatnot aside, still always had each other's back. And then and then fast forward to when they brought Wolf in, and they were able to. I mean that I love Michael Anthony, but you just can't deny Wolf's abilities.
Well, he's technically kind of like his dad, like almost like a virtuoso on that instrument. Just technically, he's just so
guitar as well, and drums.
But I think the thing about you said about David, being the guy that just stands up front and can fart and people go crazy because the band is having, I think, so much fun playing those songs. They're not a latent band. They're not going to be complacent. They're going to challenge themselves to play really interesting parts for their songs. They're not going to be just like, phoning it in, because those are hard songs to play. I mean, even whether it's, even Jamie's Crying, to get that right feel up to, that some of the new stuff that we heard on the record. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, but they're really enjoying it. So that allows them to be like, we're doing what we love to do. And then David gets to do what he loves to do, which is stand up front and be David Lee Roth.
Yeah. It's just the structure of those songs, all of them is, right, you guys, push this 18-wheeler up the hill. I'm going to stand on the as a hood ornament. And I'm going to make it look. I'm going to make it look good.
Yeah, well, that's what that last record was. They did the studio work, and then David would come in at night and listen to what they did and put his lyrics to what they'd already worked on. So
this comes from another Van Halen thing, but one thing that we haven't mentioned in quite a while is our video. We were all gung ho and ready to get this video going, and our good friend Jason got sick and was hospitalized, and he's on the mend now, which is great. But we shut all that down because we had put all our ideas into that Jason basket, and we're still going to use Jason. We know when he's ready to go.
He's ready to go.
He is?
No, I talked to him. I saw him last night at the Beatle gig. He's
oh, that's right. You played last night.
He is ready.
Guess what day it is, folks? Tuesday. You're right.
Yeah, he's looking well, and he's feeling good, and he's.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know.
He said, "Let me know when you want to do it."
Okay,
so he's ready.
Good. Well, scrap that last comment. Good. That's good to know, because I had another idea for a video because of Jason, because I thought Jason was incapacitated. Good. That's
well
that's
and about.
Great news. Well, I had texted him and told him, hey, just let me know what you need when you're, but we still might use this idea in that we had talked about doing that one thing over in that place. Mm-hmm. Wink, wink. And I think that we should still do that. And I just wanted to get this on in your heads so we could move forward with this.
We're going to be me and Chad pushing the team up the hill, and you're going to be on the hood ornament. Is this going?
Exactly.
Knew it, Chad. Come on, dude. Help me out here.
Yeah. So that's the video.
Yes.
Record being mixed as we speak. I'm excited about that. And just again to go back to our Midwest jaunt. I do want to say again how incredibly gracious and wonderful John Nania, Sienna Nania, Jay Holan, obviously, Jill Holan, the Tabakas came out, and our friend Kelly Howe and his beautiful wife and their friends and stuff like that. Just all these people that are, and of course John Werner, who introduced us to Wichita, Kansas. It's just and Michael Coakley for making the calendar work for us to shove people out and put us in. I mean, just people that if you ever wonder, what a true friend is, just know that, you need to go up and down the Midwest, often. They're just salt of the earth. I mean that sincerely. Just, I still can't get over the miles that we put on and the grace, I guess, in which we were accepted, and just waited on hand and foot. Just amazing people, wonderful people, and I can't wait to do that again. I can't wait to get back in the saddle and hit that stuff again. That was fun, and
beautiful weather.
Yeah, gorgeous.
A little windy the last day, but everything else was good. Yeah, everybody was super nice and friendly and giving, and it was great.
Yeah, the Travel Design Lounge in Omaha too. When we picked this Ireland tour back up again, we are in very, very good hands. Shelby and Kyle up there doing all the footwork for us. So just a little side note there for the Midwest tour. That was phenomenal. Just so much fun to do that.
And we made a great time coming back too.
Yeah, we did.
We arrived right on time.
Yeah, yes, we did. Even with all the stops, I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, that was a remarkably smooth journey from start to finish.
Yeah, we didn't see anybody on the way home. We didn't see Nebraska, Kansas.
We didn't see cars until we got to Dallas.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah,
we're just outside Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Oh, and the friggin' wind and the dust and shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I washed the car twice since, of course, it rained last night. But getting the bugs off was a surgery.
Yeah,
a surgery, and of course the pasting it took with the dust. But yeah, still, I do it again right now. I jump in the van right now and do it again.
Chad slept all the way home.
Yeah.
Slept through Oklahoma anyway, and most of Texas.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
yeah.
I was trying to figure out later, like when what I slept through. I remember seeing. I mean, I would woke up occasionally. I remember seeing Dallas coming up. So and then I think I woke up finally around when we were in Conroe, and I was surprised to see how close we were to home.
We stopped for gas somewhere, and we got out of the van, and I went to use the bathroom, and I came back out. Some guy was like, I just heard a voice, hey, you been playing? And I was just kept walking, and he said, hey, you been playing? I turned around, there's a guy looking at me because he saw the Blaggards t-shirt. I was like, oh yeah, no, we just coming back from up. He's like, oh, I used to go see you guys at Molly's all the time. And I was like, oh, cool, yeah, well, we're playing somewhere soon. Come and see us.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And so what'd you guys think about that show that we haven't played yet that will have come and gone when this airs?
I thought it was amazing.
I thought
really?
It was,
yeah, the turnout was.
I thought it was. The turnout was good. Yeah, the turnout was good. Okay.
Yeah,
turnout was great.
It was great.
I mean, considering
the
fire that ravaged the place the night before.
And fuego.
Yeah, that was.
I think the trio format works pretty well.
Yeah, we'll have young master Duncan on the next one. Is it Wildcatter next?
November 6th at Wildcatter. Yeah, Wildcatter Saloon.
No, we got T-Bones before that.
T-Bones on the 23rd. Yes,
we have Mr. Jeff Duncan on that one too.
We do.
Lucky us. We've been looking forward to see
them. Lucky fans that come and see us play with Jeff.
Yeah. I do want to say thank you to Einstein's for a wonderful night. But also, just if you're coming to see us at T-Bone Tom's, make sure you call and make a reservation because that will be a crazy, crazy, crazy show. The weather's fantastic. The food's always great and staff are wonderful. But it's going to be very, 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 very difficult to get a seat. So get yourself a table, call. And do we have a big announcement coming up?
We do. Are we announcing? Or are we?
I'm not going to say anything because I caught shit for it last time I said something.
Yeah, you did.
Like 7 minutes ago. So I'm going to let you do the announcement, and I'll just chime in when I feel.
Yeah, I don't think safe. I don't think we should announce. I think what we should do is, for our wonderful Patreon members and our incredible SlapperCast listeners, and watchers. So
We know you're watching.
yes.
I like to watch.
Yes, he does. I think we should. I just think that we're going to have probably the biggest guest ever.
Next week.
Next
so
week.
far.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. He's kind of. Did I say he?
You did say it's a he, so we know that much.
All right.
So wait, are we telling Patreon people who it is?
We're telling everybody.
We're going to tell everybody who it is in time, but not right now.
Not right now. Okay.
Not right now.
I just a couple of things had to line up for this, and they lined up, and we're again, once it's in the can, as we say, we'll do the thanks to those people, but it's I just beside myself. I am so giddy. I am so giddy about this guest. And
Who is it?
Who is it? It's to be announced. TBA.
Animal, vegetable, and mineral.
Yes. Man, camera, TV, woman, place, thing. Yeah. We're going to have...
Place thing.
Yeah. And Greg has a question for us too, doesn't he?
He does. Greg asks us, who are some artists, bands, or solo performers that you guys did not like when they came out or when they were popular, but now don't mind as much?
I love the don't mind as much. It doesn't necessarily mean we have to like them,
Yeah.
but we won't rush to the dial to turn them off if they come on the radio.
Yeah, Chumbawamba comes to mind.
You like them now?
No.
Okay.
I did like that song. I liked that song when it came out first. The song.
Kind of a fun song.
It is a fun song. And it's I saw what they were doing. Mission accomplished. Everything after that, I don't know.
I don't know anything about them after that.
I don't either.
I think that they were like a collective, like a weird, like whoever shows up kind of a thing, or they were like a co-op or some fucking thing like that, band, and then they put out an album, I guess.
Yeah.
But that song, that's all you need. It's like it's like EMF, just that one song is all you need.
Yeah, you just retire on that one song. Yeah.
Well, I think I heard somebody say that EMF was like the equivalent of like whatever cheesy ass pop band that's in America is. They get treated like that over in England.
Oh.
Yeah, they're just like douchebags.
No, I have no idea. What was their hit, EMF?
You're unbelievable. Oh,
jeez.
Right? The thing. You say.
Ow.
I've got absolutely no idea what's going on here.
Just
love it.
Bullshit. Bullshit
going.
pop band.
Can you do the second verse?
That's all I know.
That was the first verse.
You're unbelievable. That's all I know.
That's good. Yes, there was a ton of. We talked about this in the show before. I hated with a passion, not because of their music, just because of them. But I hated the Duran Duran and Spandau Ballet and all that stuff. All these powder puff beings that just dominated the airwaves. Now I listen to that music and The Cure and stuff like just kicking myself. What was I thinking? How could I dislike this music? Because they're great players, and it wasn't. I can't give you an example because I don't listen. At least I don't know the names of these artists. There's jingles and stuff that you'll hear on a commercial that are done by these people that push buttons in the studio, but the music. Then those bands that I was talking about. That I couldn't stand, the thought I couldn't stand. Then I hear them broken down, and I've heard them through the ages, and redone and remixed and blah blah blah. And they're really, some of them are quite spectacular musically. Then fast forward to today, and I listened to some of the stuff and it's obviously computer generated, and it's obviously auto tuned. The vocals are very plastic and very
like today's music. You mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I couldn't see myself ever going, oh, that was well done. I couldn't see that.
Yeah.
But with those bands that came out around that time, I'd say, oh, I never liked that. And then you hear it later. It's mind-boggling. And The Cure, so good at writing those hooks and Morrissey as well. You know, the Smiths.
Yeah.
Couldn't stand that.
Yeah.
I started something, and then you get to hear them. You know, you get to hear that music, and Mick, guitar player, Mick,
Yeah, Johnny Marr.
Mick, Mick. Yeah, they're all.
His name was Mick.
Johnny McMarr.
Johnny McMarr.
Yeah, Johnny Marr. He was that guitar work. Oh my
I was
God!
gonna say that
Yeah.
intro. What's that song that wah, 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 wah.
How soon is now?
You hear that? It's just like, oh, something's cool about to happen.
Yeah.
And actually, the song is actually pretty cool.
That's a great song. Yeah.
And if you, I don't run with music anymore, but when I used to run with music, that was my pace.
Yeah.
That is the perfect.
tempo.
Just you're not racing, you're not walking, you're just in that sweet spot.
Yeah.
That's a
good
great
song.
song.
Yeah. Plus, with band, I don't know so much. I don't know Spandau Ballet except for that one song, but like your Duran Durans and your Cures and your Smiths and stuff like that. I mean, those guys were actually musicians. They were actually people that played their instruments.
Yeah.
Whether or not they played them all the time in the studio, I mean, I think the Smiths did. I think the Cure did. I know there was maybe some sampling and some other stuff with some of the Duran stuff, but those guys are all
Absolutely.
fucking players.
Yeah.
And they can play their instruments and they play them well.
Yeah.
And I again, I don't know the Spandau Ballet. I don't know the makeup. I don't know the anatomy of that, how they created whatnot. I just know that Tony Hadley, the singer, just was a great crooner. Just a great front man in that he was just beautiful voice and rich and, kind of like Michael Hutchins of In Excess. Killer voice. Whether you like the music or not, you can't. You just, yeah.
Not a fan.
Part of me inside just
Well,
died.
I'm talking ability here. We're talking.
Yeah, of course.
And Simon Le Bon, like his vocal style or not, I thought he was kind of thin, and there's that Live Aid moment where his voice cracked. Again, that's not usual for him, and that pressure that you're under in front of such put all that aside. Yeah. Simon Le Bon had great lyricist. I mean, you miss it because the music was so. Back then, I thought it was so fluffy and just waste of space. And then you push forward and you hear everything clears up and you see you're able to dissect those songs, and they're brilliant.
Straddle the line like discord and rhyme. From Hungry Like the Wolf.
Chad just wrote that.
What?
That was just one of those lines I was like, what the hell is he saying? I looked it up, I was like, wow, that's actually pretty heavy. That's cool.
Well, plus you're listening to it with, maybe a little bit more mature ears. So when we were at that age, we're really into, I was into, you were, I don't know about Chad, but, we were into hard rock and metal and fuck that pop shit. That's stupid. And I get older, it's like, oh, that shit's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. The thing about being actual musicians is something we totally took for granted when we were growing up in the 80s,
Yeah.
Especially you look at, like we were saying, like, today where a lot of the top artists aren't even musicians technically.
Well, it's funny because I was talking, I forget who I was talking with, but they were making a point about like kids today, they hear all this stuff that's auto-tune and then they hear stuff of somebody just singing and they can't, they're perplexed by it because it doesn't register to them that that's actually what a voice is supposed to sound like.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of true. I mean, if you were a 12-year-old now, I mean, the last 12 years, all you've heard is anything that's been released has either been super digitally processed or it's been auto-tuned. And it's like you hear somebody sing like the guy from Spandau Ballet, I can't believe you knew that guy's name, but wow. I don't know anybody from Spandau Ballet. I wouldn't know a Spandau Ballet if I was kicking one, but it's pretty funny. But those guys could sing. I mean, all those guys could. I mean, there's a reason why. Yeah, those guys are great singers. They can.
I do know there's Kemp brothers as well in Spandau. I don't know their names, but they
Kemp brothers.
Kemp brothers. Yeah, but they went on to acting, and apparently did pretty well from what I understand.
Interesting. I'll have to goggle that later.
Yeah. So there you go. There's even more Spandau Ballet.
Chad, what about you? You haven't answered the question yet.
Well, he mentioned two of the ones that the first band that always comes to mind is Duran Duran. When I think about it, because I totally did not take them seriously at all when I was a teenager.
Are you sorry?
I'm very sorry.
Okay, good.
Sorry, Simon. Sorry, John. And Roger. And whatever the keyboardist's name is.
All the Taylor brothers.
Yeah, right. The three of them, right there. None of them are related. Yeah, I just didn't get it until much later. I was like, those are really good songs, and you're already saying they're actually really good musicians and good showmen and good just presentation. Everything they did was just really well done. Good lyricist, and the Smiths as well. I had a friend of mine made a tape for me when it was 85 or something, and he put "How Soon Is Now" and "That Joke Isn't Funny Anymore" on there, and I liked two of those songs. Those two songs I liked. But everything else I heard from the Smiths at that point, I was just annoyed by because it just sounded whiny and complaining and, and airy.
Exactly what he set out to do.
Yeah, right. And it wasn't until years later I listened to that stuff again. It's like, oh, now I get it. I understand what he was singing about now, and I really, really love that stuff. Although Morrissey himself has turned out to be kind of a douchebag. That's a whole other story. And there's tons of other bands. I mean, those are the two bands I can think of that really kind of fit the specificity of what Greg was asking, but there's tons of bands that when I first heard, I didn't dig, couldn't appreciate them until later. The bands that wound up having a big impact on me too later. Like Talking Heads, I didn't like the first time I heard them. David Bowie, I didn't like the first time I heard him.
Who? What was the other band you said?
David Bowie.
Oh, David, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And going much further into the future too, or more recent past, Iron Maiden. When I first heard them back in the 80s, I couldn't appreciate it until. So I didn't really get to dig them until we listened to it in the van. Whatever it was, 15 years ago. We all had bands like that, right? I mean, like not necessarily bands that we didn't like when they were popular, but bands when we first heard them were like, I don't get it, and then later you're like, okay, now I get it.
I guess that's kind of what the question is. I think I mentioned Howard Jones at the beginning. Like my sister was a big Howard Jones fan growing up. And I was like, it sounds like pop fluff to me. Then later I heard it was like, oh, kind of really well executed songs, good playing.
Mm-hmm.
Him and The Fix was another band too. See, they're all 80s bands, and most of them are British, which is weird. But The Fix I thought were okay, and then they put out a couple live videos, and seeing them play live on TV, not in concert, but I was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like most things, when you see it live or you hear it live, it's like, oh, this makes a whole lot more sense to me now. And again, another band that guys that could actually play their instruments, and they played them fairly well, very well. So obviously, I can't think of anybody really else that like Wham. I just never. I know you wear the shirt. Sorry. But just not that shirt, but that was too much for me. Culture Club was always something that I was just more visually just like, what is this all about?
Fuck those guys.
But the songs,
I still don't like them.
The songs I just don't get it.
I don't get that at all. I understood where the pop world landed on them, or where they landed on the pop world. I understood that, but I just could not get over how bad. That was the marketing. That was the genius of marketing that, whatever that thing was. Yeah. And at that time,
androgynous thing. And that was a big thing too in the 80s was the androgyny thing started, like the Spandau Ballets and the Frankie Goes to Hollywood and the Boy George, and even the Eurythmics, who are fucking awesome. Sure. Rhythmics are great. I love Annie Lennox and Dave Stewart. What the hell? Mm-hmm. Come on, stop it. But the rest of that stuff was like, all right, so we can kind of push this. And the music, like you said, Spandau Ballet was. The Wham stuff was popular. The Boy George stuff was popular, but I just didn't.
Yeah, I didn't get that, and I didn't get the Frankie Goes to Hollywood either. Not in the slightest, but I did get Madness from the first Night Boat to Cairo or whatever the first one. I think that was one of the first one I heard, and I still love Madness, still loves it. And the specials I didn't really get until a little bit later on. Then I really liked the specials. And just. I didn't get. He went on to do Fun Boy 3. I wasn't into that, but I liked the beat. They became the English beat, I guess, later on. But loved that band and Bad Manners and all that ska stuff. That was that was very cool, and I still like that stuff. It's not stuff I can listen to over and over again, but I got that right off the box, and say Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I never understood that shit. I never understood how there were so many people and they could still sound so bland. Yeah. The great beats and great production on the.
Yeah. I think Frankie was more like they kind of catered to the gay kind of dance club scene kind of thing. Maybe that's why you weren't into it.
Well, I'm going to go back and
that's
re-listen.
right up your alley now. But
yeah, I don't know. Come to Frankie.
The gay and lesbian thing in the 80s was kind of like, I think because of like the Boy Georges and the Frankies and the Spandos, and they kind of tried to make it the Wild West guys. They tried to make it like marketable. And I was just thinking, so Timbuk 3 in the later 80s, Timbuk 3 had that hit with Future's So Bright I Gotta Wear Shades. They're from up the road in Austin. That song was really popular and very, if you go listen to that song right now, very 80s, very dated. And I was like, that song is okay. And I end up seeing them live. They opened up for Sting on the Soul Cages tour when I saw them up in Mansfield, Massachusetts. I was like, Timbuk 3's opening up. They were really fucking good. And they were a really good band. And that's the only song I knew was that Shade song. But I mean, everything else was just like, these guys are really good. So, but it didn't mean I didn't change my mind about them. I didn't run out and buy the Timbuk 3 record.
Right.
And I don't want to do that. But and I met that bass player in Austin a long time ago. The girl, I can't remember what her name is. She was playing a show and I was playing after. I said, by the way, I saw you play at Mansfield back in 91 or whatever it was. Oh, cool.
Cool. What about
you see the recent video that, speaking of Austin, you see the most recent video that Hunt Sales posted on Instagram?
No.
Him and Bowie, and it's Tin Machine.
Oh, I did see it, yeah.
Tin Machine playing.
Mm-hmm.
And
See, why you gotta lie?
come on, dude. And Bowie and Hunt are not wearing shirts, and Tony and Reeves are wearing jackets and stuff like that. So I wrote down shirts versus sleeves, shirts versus skins on my comment. So
I thought you meant when you first said. I thought you were saying something new they posted.
no. Well, I mean, it's new to us.
Yeah,
because it's on the internet now. Anyway,
what about bands that we used to like that we no longer like? Are there any bands like that? Like we listen to them now, we're like things we used to like when we were kids.
I mean, I think for me, there's plenty of classic rock stuff just because it's been heard. When you first hear it, it's like, that's kind of cool. Especially being a kid and being exposed to music. Like I remember we had these older friends that would come over and they would always play like, the Eagles and Boston and all that stuff that was popular back then. And I'm like, when you're a kid, you're learning about music. You're like, this is kind of interesting. And you get older, you're like, oh my God, that stuff is terrible. Like, especially the Boston stuff. I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, Boston was, it was that smooth finish across the top of every song.
It's like they're like a rock band, but they're
playing on Fisher-Price toys.
Yeah, it's very pleasant sounding. It's just like there's no edge to it.
Exactly.
But I mean, technically, they were and to their credit, they like we only wanted to be a studio band. Like Tom Schultz is like, I only want to play in the studio because he was a nerd, and he invented that little tiny amplifier thing and all these guitar effects and stuff like that. Yeah. But they were like, no, you got to go on the road. They're like, shit. Okay, here we go.
Yeah,
we're gonna do this thing now.
Yeah, when I hear that Boston stuff, it sounds like a hairdryer. Sounds like it's got that whiny thing. It's just missing but it's just missing all that low, all that stuff that just kicks you in the face. The
only stuff that stuck with me when they come over is I had older cousins and they'd play. My dad had all these Beach Boy compilations, and that I could hang on to. That I could understand that. And then listening, you get older, you like playing the Bad Company records and all that kind of shit. I'm just like, oh, that's interesting. My brother had all the Led Zeppelin records. Oh, that's interesting. It's cool. All the Rush records and all that stuff. But then you get older, and growing up like I did, I had to listen to a lot of radio in the car, and just like that shit's been hammered to death. You got to appreciate it for what it was, but now it's just like I can't turn the radio off quick enough. If the radio's on. I don't need to hear. We joke about the Superstar or whatever that song is called by Bad Company.
Oh, geez.
Shooting Star or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Johnny died one day. Yeah.
Stupid Star.
Stupid Star.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the lyrics in that. Just print them out and just plaster them all over your padded cell and
drop them from a plane and this is propaganda. This is propaganda.
Yeah,
this will make you.
It's awful. Bands like the Bad Company shit and stuff like you could again just hammering down your point. I could listen to that in the car without jumping out the window. Now, not so much. Other again, same thing with a Bob Seger or something like that. I could listen to as a kid. And now that stuff has just been
drilled into your brain.
Yeah, and then working in the clubs so at 2:00 in the morning, you know, when they put those songs on, Sweet Child of Mine, Bohemian Rhapsody, Paradise City, you know, all this stuff that they play at the end of the night to get people singing, and they get to.
No, that's when you got to play all the music that no one likes to get them to leave. Like play all the B-sides of songs that people don't know.
You say that, but they stand around. How many times have you seen that bachelorette party standing in a circle screaming at the top of their lungs? Journey. Don't
stop
Journey
believing.
any time of the day is not good.
I'll never stop believing.
Yeah, when and everybody's screaming it at the top of their lungs to, hey, I know this one. And
I want to put a challenge to our fans of the podcast right now, and I want you to count how many episodes we bagged on the Eagles over the last few months, because this is definitely another one where we're gonna bag on the Eagles.
Well, let's dedicate after our massive announcement.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Yes, let's do a whole show on just dogging the Eagles. I'm just kidding.
Easy.
I'm just kidding. I can't.
I'm not doing that. That's too easy.
I can't do.
Too easy.
Eagles.
Anyway, so what was the question? The question is, are the bands that we used to like we don't like anymore?
Yeah.
All those bands we just mentioned.
Yeah.
But you know, the Bob Seger thing, I kind of come back around to, because when I was a kid, you know, I remember going to like a couple parties with the Burnout Girls. We had the preppy girls and we had the Burnout Girls, and the Burnout Girls were way more fun and way cuter. And they would play Bob Seger all the time at the parties, and it was a lot of fun. But then you get a little bit older, you're like, oh God, do I need to hear Against the Wind one more time or whatever? And now that I'm older and looking back on my youth, it's like, that was kind of fun back then. And when a Bob Seger song comes on, I don't rush to turn it off.
Yeah, at least with the Bob Seger stuff, you're getting a real. You know, he's putting down. I watched this wonderful. It's 20 minutes long, but it was Brian Johnson from AC/DC and Mark Knopfler doing a tour. They're both from Newcastle, and they're doing just incredible watching Brian Johnson of AC/DC just tear up listening to Mark Knopfler sing and play. You know, because like Bob Seger, he puts his life into these songs.
Sure.
And you know, and again, for you have to do a little bit of digging and you have to use your imagination. But so does the aforementioned Sir David Lee Roth. You know, they put all that stuff into that. That's why, you know, just running down a road just to shoot my load, whatever the lyric,
the Eagles thing,
the Eagles stuff.
Yeah,
you know, those guys, they were just, hey, let's write a song about checking out chicks and we'll harmonize, and that's it. You know, that's the song.
Cha-ching.
Yeah.
Bob Seger is like the homeless man's, you know, Bruce Springsteen. And Bruce Springsteen, though, is 2 paychecks away from getting evicted anyway. So it's kind of a weird, like, you know, cycle of.
I always said that John Bon Jovi is he's the uneducated Bruce Springsteen. He's the guy that doesn't read. And then of course I saw an interview.
I think. That's giving him too much credit, I think.
Yeah. But I saw an interview with him the other day, and he turns out to be a good guy. I was like, damn it.
Yeah, no. I've heard he's a very nice person.
Yeah. Pissed me off because I hate Bon Jovi. I hate Bon Jovi. God damn it! I got throw something.
Yeah, that's an example of band that I didn't like back then. Still don't like them. So
Motley Crue is fine, I think, from the 80s.
All those bands.
When I first moved to the States in '87, I worked in a place called Faneuil Hall in Boston, and there was a guy that used to walk I guess in every in every town there's a mall and there's a place, or there was, because fucking people don't leave their houses now. Right. And I'm not talking about COVID shit. I'm talking about just, you know, these people of a certain age just don't fucking leave their house. Mm-hmm. But so there was all these places that you could go to be seen and to see. And Faneuil Hall was one of those places that the tourists love, but also the kids loved to go to be seen and to see. Uh-oh. And there was a guy, and he had the acid, I can see it clear as day, acid wash jeans, tucked into the cowboy boots.
Yes.
And the whatever jacket was, you couldn't see, but the hair looked like one of those plants. It was, it was.
Can we just say that the jacket had fringes on it? Can we just say
definitely did.
Black leather.
Yes,
Nice.
and
I can see it now.
the silver, the silver.
The zippers and stuff. Oh,
No,
the
the
spikes?
medallion looking things on them as well as
I like that.
yeah, and he would walk. Sorry, mosey, no, strut, no,
Prance? No,
prance,
maybe.
prance, yeah, but it was a slow prance,
Mm.
like a prance, but it
A
was
sachet.
maybe a sachet is still too manly.
I don't want to
Still
take
too
away
manly.
from the visual.
But it was hysterical because that was the Bon Jovi time. That was Bon Jovi's time, and he would. I mean, I think he's probably the only person in history that would, and I imagine that he wore out his mirrors at home. You know what I mean? The mirrors being like just a gaping hole in the wall.
I have two questions for you. Number one, do we think that maybe he was trying to be like a Bon Jovi impersonator to get his picture taken with people? And two, where were you working in Faneuil Hall?
I was working in a place called the Monkey Bar. I worked in three places. Monkey Bar, which served non-alcoholic. I was drinking back then. Oh, so we had different drinks than we served. But it was Monkey Bar. God, I just remembered his name. Jay Black owned it. Was it Jay? I think I'm right. Whew. Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Let's
It's like reverse Alzheimer's.
yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to remember that.
Yeah.
Or do I?
Okay, so one, no, he wasn't smart enough to be an impersonator to get his picture taken with.
Fair enough.
Two, what was the second question? I'm
Where were you working? You said Monkey Bar.
Monkey Bar. The
which was
second place I worked was a la carte.
Which is...
Oh, four places.
Jesus Christ.
Jay owned both of those places, so I worked at a la carte for a little bit.
What was a la carte?
It was
Like a restaurant or something?
yeah. It was food. It was basically a lot of. It was kind of be like if I had to compare it to something today, it would probably be like a La Madeleine or a.
Okay.
Do they still have the Au Bon Pain up in Massachusetts?
I don't know if they... Maybe. Massachusetts they might.
Yeah,
Back east, yeah.
yeah, kind of like that, but a little bit. It was think of La Madeleine, but think of with flavor. That was so chicken, rosemary chicken. I can never forget the smell of that. But it's like a delicatessen,
Right.
with sandwiches and whatnot. Decent.
That's two places.
Two
Get
places.
more.
Other place was called Finagle a Bagel. I don't know who owned that, and it was an Irish chap. I can't remember his name. Connor. I should remember that name. And got me that. Man, talk about. I thought I'd forgotten all of this. Say no to drugs, kids. Bagel shop, and then the other place was that four? No,
That's three so far.
three. Oh yes, of course it is. John Redmond would shoot me in the face if I didn't remember. It was a taco place. My friend Billy Stamatis was the manager, and
Massachusetts tacos.
yeah. Oh, you want to talk? Oh my God, I can
You want
remember.
to talk about it? Talk about it?
Oh, let's just cut it off there, folks. Thank you. Good night. What was it called? Anyway, that's
Senor O'Shea's or something stupid like that.
That's a much better name than we had. It was damn it.
Well, the reason I asked is because Faneuil Hall was the first time. I was a kid when I went, but first time I saw my dad eat raw oysters. The little raw bar that they had.
New England. No, it's not New
Not
England.
legal seafoods. No, they had it's kind of like a kind of almost open air. They had like a little
Yes.
bar.
Yeah.
and you could get your oysters at the bar.
That
have a
was the
beer.
guy that got me the. I just filled in some shifts down at the bagel place.
Okay.
That was the guy. It wasn't Connor. It was his partner in crime. Two Irish guys.
Yeah.
Brilliant, incredible mind. But I don't mean brilliant workers. Not at all. Just funniest.
Yeah.
Funniest. I'll remember. I can't remember. I can't believe I remembered the Monkey Bar guy's name. That's funny. And Tracy Ryan was the manager of a la carte. And but I mean, back in the day, that place was just. And I'll tell you another thing about Faneuil
Just remember,
Hall.
folks, I want to just remind you that we were talking about Bon Jovi, and now we're at Faneuil Hall.
Yes,
in
we
Boston,
are.
Massachusetts.
But this is Bon Jovi time. This was the time that they did their thing, and I blame them. I blame them for a lot. a lot of
Bad
a
choices.
lot of stuff that I did wrong.
Mhm.
But so one of the guys I worked with at the Monkey Bar, I don't want to say his name, Dana, because it's a girl's name. He used to, this was when car alarms came out. They were first, woo, 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 you hear all these different, right, for all these,
Yeah.
they came in. He and his friends, within no time at all, they just come out. They learned how to steal them out of the cars and resell them. They were stealing car alarms out of cars, out of these brand new cars, and reselling them. Yeah, and he offered me. This is how clever he was. He offered me a thing. I didn't have a car. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on a stray cat. Piss off, But yeah, stealing car alarms out of cars. Anyway, so
John Bon Jovi.
Detour.
People.
yeah,
Detour. Isn't that a Bon Jovi record?
I don't know.
Slippery When Wet?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
It's funny because
Something you want to talk about?
They've been showing Spaceballs on the moving picture box, and when Lone Star shows up, it's a Bon Jovi song that made the movie soundtrack. So it's like, ugh.
Mm.
Yeah. The only bad thing about Spaceballs.
So I don't know anything. I don't know.
Mel Brooks, comedian, movie director.
Yes, love Mel.
Blazing Saddles.
Didn't see Spaceball.
Oh.
Maybe I did.
Might be his last really interesting one. And then he did Men in Tights after that, and
Oh,
it just got
I
kinda
know
weird.
I didn't see that.
I don't know what he's done. I mean, he was on Curb Your Enthusiasm, a couple of seasons of that, but I don't know anything he's done of his
I
own.
mean directorial.
right?
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Maybe we'll get him to shoot our video.
The best thing about Men in Tights is that Dave Chappelle shows up in it.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he plays.
God, that was a
he
while ago.
plays somebody. I can't remember what his character he plays.
Yeah, I did
That's
see
you.
that. Huh?
His name is Achu. Yeah, you can imagine what the joke is after
Yeah.
that.
I don't remember.
Carrie Elways plays Robin Hood, and well, anyway. All right.
Thanks, Bon Jovi.
Yeah. Thanks, Bon Jovi. You've definitely sent us down the rabbit hole
Yeah.
of.
Did you
rabbit hole.
did you is there any phase of, obviously the 80s was probably the biggest influence musically, but was there any fad, was there any fashion fad that you fell into? Did you,
Fuck yeah.
what's your least or most memorable, or
Zippers on the shirts and leather ties. Super skinny leather ties.
really? You got the tie.
did
Oh,
that too?
Yeah,
Did that too?
my sister and I were just talking about that the other day. Apparently,
Really?
there's some TV show that's coming out, and there was a catalog you could get called Commander Salamander or something like that, and it was all like the 80s, like leather pants and shirts with zippers all over them, and
That's how I learned how to sew. I taught myself how to sew.
oh yeah,
So I could sew zippers all over my
Make your own,
jeans and
yeah,
all over
yeah.
my,
spiky wristbands and
still have them. Yeah.
Japanese bandanas and
Rising
shit like
sun,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. And so apparently there's some show that is recreating the 80s, and they put up there was a Commander Salamander store, and I think in Georgetown, Washington, D.C., and so she reminded me of that, and then it brought back like, oh yeah, learning how to tie a tie when you were 12 years old, because you had these like red and black skinny leather ties and
Yeah. Did you?
checkerboards, of course.
I had a mullet when I was
too. I
15,
did.
16. Yeah. Although we didn't call them mullets back then. I don't know when that
We called
became
them
a
fashion
thing.
back then.
Yeah, it was a fucking cool haircut back then.
Yeah, I didn't have a mullet, but my hair. Well, I let my hair grow out, so my hair was down to here, and then it was long in the back, and it was very, very straight.
Have you always had long hair?
Yeah, well, pretty much. Yeah,
I mean, since you were obviously not as a child, but
I cut it in '87 when I came to the States,
yeah,
and then I never cut it again.
sure. Well, why would you? Exactly.
Still have it.
Yeah.
I have to find out. I think it was my first driver's license picture. Has when they made minors turn to the side back then. It was just a way for people to easily identify. Oh, you're underage.
I still
to
make
look
my
at-
mind has turned.
Yeah, but I in that picture I have this just massive mullet with really long bangs and really long at the back.
I got mine permed one time. I got the back all curly, but I had spiky hair on the top.
pictures. You got to have pictures.
Well, we should all try to bring in a picture next week and we'll
Yeah.
post it.
Well, put it.
Okay.
Give it to me.
I can find. Well,
give
I
it to
don't-
me while I'm editing the show, because I could drop them into the
The
show.
only place I know that it is that. Oh, look! I think I got one at my home. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll take a picture of a picture. It's wild.
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know.
Glasses and shit. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen at least one picture of you when you were like 16, 17, which is weird because it just looks like Connor.
Yeah.
But almost every picture I've seen of you from that period. Yeah, I didn't really get into for a while. When I was like 13, 14, I was kind of into
Did you
that.
open the back?
Sorry.
I was into that whole.
I bet you were.
What was that? I'm trying. There were two
Like
brands.
holes.
There were two brands of clothing that were based on surfing gear. Even though I wasn't a surfer, but that was what
OP?
was, OP. Yes, OP and PCH, Pacific Coast Highway. Those are the two brands. Was it OP? Was that the main? That was the main ones, right?
OP was
Ocean
one, but
Pacific.
then I started skateboarding in the late 80s, so I was into Palo Peralta clothing and Vision Streetwear and all that kind of shit. You remember that kind of stuff?
I remember the names. I don't
Vision
remember.
Streetwear, yeah.
So, but there were Vans. You'd wear Vans. With the checkered stuff, which you still wear.
I bought my first pair of Vans in 88, I think.
Yeah, and then I
Still wear 'em.
had a lot of T-shirts, the Pacific Coast Highway T-shirts, which they were like most of them were long sleeves with these pictures of beaches with palm trees and
Yeah,
stuff on them.
always
That's just what
oversized.
people wore. Yeah,
Oversized shirts.
yeah,
If you wore a medium, you bought an extra large, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
and parachute pants were just.
Ooh,
yeah.
Lord. Now we're talking.
I don't know if I ever actually had a pair of actual parachute pants, but that whole style with the that nylon fabric,
Yeah.
whatever it is, with
Pockets
zippers
and
in weird
zippers.
places.
It was like the original cargo short.
pants. Yeah,
Cargo pants,
I really loved cargo pants. I had
Damn.
several pairs of those. Fucking love those things.
We need to have a gig where we wear like our old 80s outfits and shit. That'd be wild, right? Oh, Halloween. Oh, we're not playing Halloween.
Well, that we know of. I turned down a couple, but
And I did have a pair of Vans around that same time. I was wearing PCH T-shirts and stuff. I only had one pair, and for some reason, it was just really hard for me to get Vans.
I bought my first pair of Vans in a store in Portland, Maine, and I wore them until they basically fell off my feet. They got split right here, and I thought, oh, it's the 80s. It's still kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was into Airwalks, which is a skateboard shoe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
yeah, I never had the parachute pants. I never did that, but I did sew the zippers on the jeans and write all over my jeans, draw the logos of all the bands on there, and I did all that. And I just
You get the rip knees. Did you put and then you just kind of like slowly just kind of take a razor blade to it and kind of rip it up a little bit?
My jeans all got ripped in knees, but it was all from me crawling around on the
We
floor.
know what you were doing.
yeah,
But being on the floor in my bedroom making tapes,
$20.
and
See, back then.
that was like a rite of passage. That when I was always looking forward to the point where jeans would start getting holes in the knees.
Mm-hmm.
But now the holes appear in different places, so it doesn't happen anymore.
Makes
But
it very popular if
yeah.
you go back to jail.
I really think it was because of being in my room back then and being on the floor, like making tapes and things like that I just didn't do later for some reason. That was just, it always happened. I would get holes in the knees with all my jeans when I was a teenager.
It was fashion.
And then,
Jean
it
jackets.
became fashion, yeah. And then I thought it was ridiculous that it was around that time that they started selling jeans with the holes in them already. Yeah.
Yeah, ridiculous.
But I never needed, I ain't got holes anyway.
You're like, I'm wearing
Yeah.
just $150 worth of jeans right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fashion was 80s. I think the thing is, like, we sort of kind of all came, well, a little bit older, but we all kind of came up at the same time and the same music. And I mean, people talk about the 80s, and it really was kind of a very formative decade for a lot of things. Musically, visually, with MTV being created at that time, and then the advent of videos and the whole fashion thing and whatever. Look back on it fondly, but it's also like, ooh, there's some terrible choices made back then
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, wouldn't change it. Wouldn't change it for a second. So big announcement forthcoming
Yeah.
and wonderful.
I can't stand to wait.
Great. Yeah. I know. Yeah, two people in particular that made this happen,
Mm-hmm.
and we're so grateful for that.
We can't mention them.
And no,
Okay, we'll wait.
we'll wait. We'll do it all together. But it's gonna be really fun. And thanks to you at home, our numbers have gone up, and the people watching on YouTube and listening to it and on whatever platform it's been climbing, and the timing is great, because I think this is definitely one of my favorite people, in a long, long, long time. So that said, thanks for coming out to see us at Einstein's. We'll be back there soon.
Mm-hmm.
And we look forward to seeing you all at T-Bone Tom's coming up. And Wildcatters, our first time playing there out in Katy.
Mm-hmm.
So we a lot of stuff going on. And, we have, plenty of, we got plenty of stuff that we need to drag you out and come see. And excited about getting this record done, video. And lots of stuff. So just thank you all for being so helpful to us.
Yeah,
Especially our Patreon.
yes. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful, and happy birthday, Max. Did I say that? Happy birthday, Max.
You did.
I did.
All right, let's go rehearse.
All right.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Bye.